Let's start with butt joints, and this can be on plate, flat bar, angle iron, pipe, or square tubing. When the metal is around 1/8 of an inch thick, keep the edges straight and square for a perfect fit. You'll generally get good enough penetration just butting the pieces together, especially if you can weld on both sides or all the way around. On plate or flat bar, tack right on the outside edges to help carry the heat. For square tubing, tack the corners, then weld opposite sides from tack to tack. If you intend to grind the weld off for a smooth finish, you can leave a very slight gap, but keep it uniform. Whenever possible, start at the outside edge and weld towards more metal. In the flat position, hold the rod fairly perpendicular to the metal. You can weld with 60-10 or 60-11 using a circular motion. Turn the amperage down a little, but you're going to have to travel faster to control penetration and avoid burning through. For a smoother finished bead, try 60-13 or a 3/32 70-18 with a side-to-side movement. On a horizontal, hold the rod nearly perpendicular to the weld. Watch the puddle. With 60-10 or 60-11, adjust the travel speed to let the puddle spread out without overheating the metal. Watch the top side to avoid undercutting. With 60-13 or 70-18, try running straight without any rod movement, maintaining a uniform arc gap and travel speed. If you can position the joint, butt welds on 1/8 metal are easier welded vertical down. 1/8 metal is fairly thin for stick rod, so use some practice metal to figure out the amperage and adjust your travel speed. Starting at 3/16 of an inch, you want to bevel the edges to allow for good penetration. Bevels are generally around a 30-degree angle with the top edge straight and a flat spot called the landing on the bottom. Hold the grinder at a slight angle, using the bottom corner of the disc to take off metal. When you have it close, hold the grinder flat to smooth the bevel and straighten the top. On heavier metals, it may be easier to cut the bevel with a torch, then finish it with a grinder. The reason for beveling the edges is to control the puddle deep in the joint. If the bevel isn't wide enough to get the rod into the bottom, you can always take the grinder up on edge, slightly cock, and use the curve of the disc to open the bevel up a little more. A beveled butt weld can be divided into 3 parts. The root, which is the first pass fusing the bottom of the joint, the filler, and the cap. There are several options in fitting up butt joints, and the main difference is how the root pass is welded. The bevel pieces can be fit up with a small gap, allowing the first pass to penetrate as deep as possible. For 100% penetration, either a backup bar is used, with the first pass fusing all 3 pieces, or the metal is fit up with a gap, and the root fuses the bottom edge and actually builds weld on the back side.